Now, where KOLs help answer, who shapes thinking today? Rising stars help answer who will shape it next, and that's a very different scouting question. Because these people are not yet on the conference keynotes or advisory reports. Once someone is already a household name in the field, everyone already knows them, and access becomes slower, a lot pricier, or too late. So here, instead of start with reputation, we start with signal velocity. So if I search for atopic dermatitis, we want to find academic researchers who are currently active on the topic. So who published in this year or the past year on atopic dermatitis? And we want people who have momentum. So we can see here that every year they publish and it's increasing. We also want people who publish in top journals on atopic dermatitis, so who published in Nature, Science, Cell, Lancet, and so on. So we can simply select top 20 journals. And then we want rising stars, meaning we want those with probably around 10 to 50 publications and who have a lot of citations on the topic. But that could be just a single publication. So the H-index in that regard could be a helpful way. So an H-index of 11 to 50 while having about 10 to 50 publications. So that's a very interesting comparison. Now for any rising star, we got a tailored summary of their recent research on the topic. We see immediately what's the focus of this research. We can see the recent signals. But what matters truly is whether they're growing in the direction of your needs. A rising star in target discovery may not be the right fit for someone needing trial execution support. So again, it comes back to contextual fit. So if we check rising star fit, we can say, okay, what does an ideal rising star look like? We have some default here. We can add something specific expertise in atopic dermatitis, focus on drug discovery, clear, differentiated niche. And let's add our scouting context. We want this at default. I want to save this analysis and search on atopic dermatitis in this profile. So in seconds, you go from guessing based on publication counts to a grounded understanding of whether someone is emerging in your direction, and critically, you see why. So it's an excellent fit, and you can see the different criteria with a score, 10 out of 10, 8 of 10, plus the context. Now, where this becomes truly transformational is when you scale. I can evaluate up to 50. I go for the rising star fit. The goal is to identify high-quality, rising star collaboration opportunities, and we can hit evaluate. So we got our report after a few minutes, and in such a report, we can identify who are the best rising stars for our criteria. So we see a table, we see the different criteria, and a scoring on each of those criteria with an overall score, justification, etc. So we can pick the ones that fit our criteria best. We can also look into the in-depth assessment of different categories of rising stars. We can as well see which people score more than 58, but as well identify patterns across all those specific researchers so we can see the different clusters of researchers. So it makes sense potentially to work with one of those, or a combination of those. So we have some recommendations and a conclusion and a legend, of course, for the table. Once we identified the rising stars we want to assess in detail, we can simply go to the Excel file with the individual analysis of each of those rising stars. So we can see basically for each researcher, what's the overall score. And let's say we pick the ones that have an excellent fit. So we filter by excellent, and now we can go to the ones that are having excellent fit. And we can see the scoring on each individual criteria plus the context. So we can basically, in this way, assess any researcher for the rising star fit based on the criteria of interest to us. So that's a very quick and easy way to analyze 50. It could be even done for 2,000 researchers that you can assess how well of a fit they are for your criteria to basically map out the entire world for who you want to consult or collaborate with. So this turns rising star scouting from being a side quest into a systematic approach to build early relationships with the next generation leaders before your competitors are doing this. And just like with KOLs, the point isn't to replace your judgment. It's to focus your attention where your future advantage is. When you see who's rising today, you gain access before the rest of the field notices. So we covered who shapes thinking today and who will shape it tomorrow. Try the platform yourself right now by going to our website.